to the ACLM podcast and just take a brief moment to have you introduce yourselves. Simon?
Of course. Thank you, Josie and Rasarie. It's great to be here with you today also. My name's Simon Matthews. I'm an IBLM certified psychologist, also a fellow of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, and furthermore, I'm an NBHWC certified coach and educator and mentor. So I do a great deal of teaching of coaching skills, and also really take the perspective in lifestyle medicine of the elements that support behavioural change, and really trying to understand what's going to help a particular patient engage in meaningful change and then sustain that in the long term.
Thank you, Simon. And Rasarie?
Hi, it's good evening from Colombo, Sri Lanka. It's about 6:30 p.m. So lovely to have this chat with both of you. So my name is Rasarie. I'm a primary care doctor in Sri Lanka, and I'm also a certified IBLM certified lifestyle medicine physician. So my background, I used to work in intensive care, but I completely shifted to lifestyle medicine. So I practice lifestyle medicine full time. I am the founder of an initiative called Sajivan Lifestyle Medicine in Sri Lanka, probably the first of its kind in the country, and background of a master's in clinical and health psychology, and currently a health coach training. Yeah. And
thank you both very much.
Simon's mentee. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you both very much. And last and least importantly in this conversation, I'm Josie Ford, a third-year medical student at the University of Connecticut. And my sights are set on a career in lifestyle med and obtaining the board certification. All right. So today we're highlighting an incredibly successful mentor match through the ACLM Mentor Match program, which is wonderful and I think sometimes underappreciated, or rather not enough people know about it. So we wanted to highlight some of our successful mentor match pairs and kick off this series of the mentor match subset of the ACLM podcast with this partnership here. So today I would like to begin by talking to each of you and understanding where you were at in your careers in the vein of lifestyle medicine at the time when you joined the Mentor Match program. So I would like to hear first from Rasarie, please.
Okay. So I think back in 2022, early 2022, I just I wasn't in a very good place in my career. By nature, I am somebody who, when I know something doesn't work out, when I know that something is not working out in my life, I get really frustrated. And, I do tend to be quite overwhelmed and sit in that frustration. And career-wise, it was a time where I had been working as an intensive care doctor in Sri Lanka for about 5 years. So there I saw the remarkable advances in Western medicine, but also at the same time, its very significant limitations. And it was really bothering me that, despite being able to help people in life and death situations, which is really important for somebody, we were just not able to give them a very long-term answer, and patients were keeping on coming back with same kind of complications over and over again. And I was feeling like, what am I doing? Like how deep does the rabbit hole go? Right? There has to be a better way, kind of a situation. And I think I had gone through all the prospectuses in postgraduate studies, and I've gone through everything that was available in my country. Like, there were beautiful specialties, but then nothing personally was calling out to me. Like, it was not naturally getting excited about anything, but I wanted to pursue a kind of more directed focus, kind of like specialization, but nothing was sitting with me. And then one day I was like wondering how wonderful it would be if there was a subject which will tell us how to live a good lifestyle. And just randomly, I just typed into Google lifestyle medicine, and this entire world opened up with ACLM website at the top. And I was like, oh my God, there's something like this actually in the world. And then I went through the website, and then that was the first time I read the definition of lifestyle medicine, that there was actually a group of people who were working towards something like this. And I was like, oh, how wonderful. But I wish that it would someday come to my country. And then when I looked below, then of course, then I saw the website of Sri Lankan Society of Lifestyle Medicine. And that was really thrilling because I'd never known that something like that was there in our country. And then, and the same year, I got in touch with the group that was trying to bring lifestyle medicine to Sri Lanka. I got certified at the end of 2022, and yeah, haven't looked back since.
Thank you so much for sharing this journey, and it's amazing to see the growth in your career and your also self-satisfaction in your career, which we know is so important too. I'm so glad you found that through ACLM, at least in part, and a lot of credit to Simon as well. And with that, I would like to ask Simon where you were at in your career when you signed up for the mentor match and what led you to do so.
Of course, thanks, Josie. Well, I have spent most of my career as a clinician, as a psychologist. I've been registered as a psychologist in Australia for nearly 30 years now, and really I've been involved in the broader kind of field of behavioural change for. I'm going to say 40 years. I've worked in that particular area. So I came to lifestyle medicine about a dozen years ago. It's a whole other story. I very nearly became an airline pilot. The global financial crisis hit, so I didn't do that. I was already a psychologist. So I returned to psychology, but started getting very interested in the role that diet and nutrition play in mental health in particular, and the role that exercise and activity play in mental health in particular. That's the area that I was working in. So I went back and studied to become a fitness trainer and a personal trainer. I studied nutrition, started blending those into what I do. And somehow, a little like Rasarie's story, I stumbled on the phrase, or stumbled on a website, or so I really can't remember the detail now, but lifestyle medicine was the phrase, and I had a moment of revelation, thinking, oh, this is what I do, and so that, of course, led me to start pursuing that more specifically. And over time, I was introduced to the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, and so on. And in that time, I continued with my interest, particularly in behavioural change, but I also became coach trained myself. I started teaching with a coaching school, teaching students of health and wellbeing coaching, and I discovered kind of late in my life, or later in my life, late in my career, that I actually really, really love education. And to be honest, I should have listened to my mother all those years ago, because she told me that I should have been an educator, and I didn't listen to her. But here I am. I love education, and I love the mentoring relationship, and I love the supervision relationship as well. And so that of course is where I now spend most of my time. Just a few years ago, I was made a fellow of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, which of course at one level is a significant personal honour, but for me it also carries with it a significant mantle of responsibility to encourage others, to support others in their journeys. And shortly after that fellowship was awarded, I became aware of the ACLM mentor-mentee program. Again, I can't recall exactly how, but I thought, oh yeah, this is. I was already doing mentoring with coaching students, and I thought, oh, this is something that I would really love to do. I don't know whether there's Josie, I don't know whether there's a switch that kind of gets flicked in your brain when you reach a certain age or when you've had a certain number of years of a career, but I just felt a very strong kind of desire to be able to support other people in lifestyle medicine in that kind of mentoring type of relationship. So I'd been not long signed up to the program as a mentor when Rasarie reached out to me, and well, here we are.
Thank you for sharing your path as well. And what a good sentiment of wanting to lift up those that come after us and also to listen to our mothers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing your pathways to signing up for the program. Now I want to hear about your partnership together. What was that first meeting like for you?
Okay.
So yeah, you kick us off, Rasarie.
Okay. So I remember now, okay, so I've like dived head into lifestyle medicine. I'd like sort of quit my job, had this great revelation and dived into, okay, so me with my friends in the Sri Lankan Society of Lifestyle Medicine. So I joined the board also, and okay, we must make this difference. And then I was trying various ways to make this a difference. And well, things were not going as I had thought they would go. I mean, which is quite natural when you try to bring something new to, I think, any community, any country. And I tried on my own various things for about, I think, 1.5 years from the time I got certified. And then I thought, okay, I need help. And in my country, doing the kind of work that I was doing with the company, with practice, and with the background of psychology, and I didn't know who to kind of reach out to. And immediately when I looked around, because the field is quite new, I couldn't really put my finger on somebody who might be able to help me at that time. So then I saw that there's a mentor-mentee, like a match program at ACLM. And I went to the website, and now I tried to find myself a mentor. And then the process is such that, you kind of, there's a small process you go through. You use some keywords and some selection processes, but I put too many processes in, and then I found no one. Right? And too many keywords. And then, so I started keeping the most important to me and slowly just removing one by one. And about, I think, an year before that, the Sri Lankan Society of Lifestyle Medicine has hosted Simon on a webinar on behavior change. And at that point, I was thinking, I mean, that webinar, it was something that made a lasting impression on me, just I think because of how calm Simon was, and that entire conversation, it was very grounding, it was very calm. There were lots of check-ins with the audience, and some of the things that he said, I mean, not just me, even my friends would remember years afterwards. So with that background, when I was kind of refining my search, suddenly Simon pops up. And I thought, oh, there's someone I know. Yes. Yeah, and I was happy, but I didn't know what the process was, how busy he was gonna be. So anyway, I reached out, and then yeah, he was more excited than I was. And I was like, oh wow, I've been waiting for this. So I think we started conversations over Zoom, and it was just it was nice because after a long time I kind of felt like, okay, so get some guidance, and that okay, so things are not going to be as frustrating as they had been. So okay, so like there is a person who can help me. Yeah.
Oh, that's a great feeling, and I'm glad you found Simon after being a consumer of his knowledge base and seeing his interview. What an interesting progression and kind of full circle. So I'd love to hear from Simon now as well. What were initial impressions during that first meeting? How did you know that this would be a productive partnership?
So I remember Josie, receiving internally the communication from ACLM that someone wanted to speak with me about mentoring. So we went through that whole process. And one of my first recollections of Rasarie, and I'm sure she won't mind me saying this, is that she was somewhat. She was clearly a person of significant capability, a great deal of energy and passion and desire to be invested in and working in lifestyle medicine, and also someone simultaneously who was a little bit self-effacing, possibly not quite giving herself the credit that was due to her at the time. And that was my initial impression of her. But it was, look, very quickly I don't know. It just felt like I don't think I could describe to you any particular criteria that were ticked off, or any particular reasons why it felt like it would work well. But it did. It felt like it would work well. So we agreed to continue to meet, and we've kept that up both virtually. We are in very different parts of the world. Rasarie's in Sri Lanka, as you know, and I live in Spain, in Madrid. So we find a mutually suitable time, but also keep in touch via email and WhatsApp as well.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing your perspective as well throughout the start of this partnership. And how did you all determine the focus of your mentorship relationship?
Well, from my perspective, and this is really one of the for me the lovely elements of a mentoring relationship. For me, that's really been entirely Rasarie's, desire. All our meetings begin with some variation of, what's important to you, what do you really want to examine now, and we don't always necessarily adhere to that closely. Sometimes we'll start in a particular place and we'll end up in a different place, which again, for me, is not only part of the joy of mentoring, but it's also an important part of the value of mentoring. That the nature of that relationship can take both people to places that perhaps they weren't anticipating, but which are enriching and useful nevertheless.
Yeah, the enrichment and learning is bi-directional. Absolutely.
Yeah, look, I couldn't agree more. I mean, we use different suffixes on the words mentor and mentee to delineate who's who, but not for a moment would I say that I haven't derived some really valuable experiences out of this myself as well.
Oh, that's so good to hear. And Rasarie, I'm curious, can you share a specific example of a decision, opportunity, or breakthrough that came from this mentorship?
Yeah, well, so many, so many. But let me tell you the most surprising thing was, well, I had never really been officially technically mentored before, and I mean, I had experienced certain situations where that I considered was mentoring, which was lovely. And then I remember coming to the conversation with so many questions written like on a notepad, and I assumed it was like a question answer advice giving, advice taking, and me like writing the notes, kind of like a situation. And I think the thing that struck me the most was how little advice Simon gave. Like very less advice. It was very different. I went expecting answers, and instead he would ask me all these questions, and he would reflect on things that I told him, and he would I don't know, ask the most insightful things, and he would hold space, and there was a lot of silence, and he was very comfortable holding silence. And what I thought a mentorship was like was not really what I experienced, was something much more enriching. And after I think about 2 interactions in, I remember telling Simon, so okay, so from Western medicine, I learned how to treat disease. From lifestyle medicine, I've learned how to build health. But everything comes down to changing or helping somebody change their behavior. And so you're a coach, and this is what coaching is like. Like, oh my God, I want to do that. So, right. So how do you go? How do you, become a coach? I'd love to do what you do. Because it's bringing out in me a kind of transformation and inspiration that I don't think I would have gotten simply by an advice session. And that led me into exploring opportunities in wellness coaching. And currently, I'm a health coach trainee myself. And that's one of the best avenues that I've explored. And like really looking forward to following in that footsteps.
Thank you for sharing that amazing breakthrough. And I think it just speaks to the power of the interdisciplinary mentor-mentee relationship that you have. I think oftentimes people overlook the power in that and assume or seek out mentors who are in their exact career track or have the same degree as them. But really our eyes can open when we interact interdisciplinarily. So truly amazing. I just want to open the floor if you have anything to say about that. Yeah.
Well, Josie, it's worth saying that mentoring, of course, can take many different forms, and sometimes that sort of mentoring that you're referring to, with someone who's got the same degree or who has gone ahead of you directly on the exact career trajectory you want to go. Sometimes that sort of mentoring can be really valuable, and of course, an important part of the process of any mentoring relationship is for both parties to negotiate what they want and need and would find really useful to make sure that the match is actually a really great match. But my approach to mentoring generally is what I would describe as a coach-like approach. So I do my mentoring work, and for that matter, I do my therapy work using much the same approach as I would use as a coach. And so for me, that starts with a deeply held belief and a recognition that the person I'm working with is already equipped with considerable resources and an ability to continue to develop the resources that are going to be useful to them. So my role is not to, give an answer or give information or give advice or anything like that, but to facilitate a process of gradual uncovering for the other person, during which they get to see with more clarity the things that they're looking for. And, in some ways, perhaps a metaphor is a little like the way archaeologists very carefully, dust off bones and skeletons or pieces of pottery or whatever it might be. It's there all the time. It doesn't mean it's perfectly formed, but there's something in that thing to be found under the surface of the earth that is going to tell us something or shed light on something or open up a new pathway or point in a new direction. So the job is not to, dig it up as rapidly as possible or say, well, this means you should do that. The job is to very carefully allow those things to be uncovered and then allow the person to determine what meaning and significance that has for them. Now, that's a particular approach to mentoring, which sits very comfortably with me, and obviously sits very comfortably with Rasarie as well. But it's certainly not the only way to go about a mentoring process.
Yeah, thank you for going into your mentoring ethos, and I like that metaphor a lot. I would love to hear from you, Simon. What would you say to an experienced lifestyle medicine professional who thinks that they don't have enough experience to become a mentor, but is considering filling that role?
That's a great question, Josie. As I said earlier, as a mentor, I get a great deal out of this relationship and these types of relationships myself. The first thing I get, and possibly the most noteworthy thing, is a great deal of joy. Because in this particular relationship, when Rasarie experiences breakthrough or insight or clear decision or something like that, I get to vicariously, experience that myself. I don't need to be front and center in that. It's sufficient for me to know that something about our conversations and something about the connection we've made has facilitated that pathway for her. But the other thing that's very important from a mentoring perspective is that I grow as well as a mentor in this. It's an opportunity for me to reflect on what I'm doing and to consider the impacts of that and to consider the effects of that and to wonder myself, what I could be doing differently and so on. So for someone who's, kind of uncertain, perhaps someone who recognizes that they have that desire to be a mentor, but uncertain whether they have the skills or the capacities, I would say some variation of we all start somewhere, or some variation of a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step or something like that. Start where you are, which of course in a lifestyle medicine behavioural change perspective is exactly the perspective that we would take with a patient. Start where you are. even the smallest steps you take and the smallest changes you make right now are opening up progressively more opportunities for you. And so I would take that exact same perspective with someone who's considering but not yet certain about going down the mentoring path.
Thank you. And Rasarie, I'd like to hear from you. And then Simon, how do you think mentorship helps to advance the mission of lifestyle medicine?
I think lifestyle medicine it's one of those fields which can take a lot of shapes. It can be a lot of faces. It can sit in many positions in the house of medicine, in the world of healthcare wellness. It can take many faces. It can work in various levels. And I think the most important thing was the journey and the conversations with Simon kind of made me come out of the self-imposed kind of frames that I had kind of put on myself, thinking that, okay, this is how it looks like, or this is where it needs to stand, this is how it needs to be. So those kind of frames kind of melted, and I felt there's a lot of liberation and optimism and hope and so many possibilities of the way that a career in lifestyle medicine can go. That it doesn't necessarily need to sit in one box, that it is still in evolution, it is still evolving, and how to how to sort of enjoy the journey that is unfolding. Like, I think anyone who is in lifestyle medicine is a pioneer of something that's a transformation that's happening globally. And when you are going to do something for the first time, obviously there are going to be lots of challenges, and you're going to have to carve something which was maybe not done before, and to have the support of people who understand that it is an evolving journey. And then there are cultural differences. You can't copy paste what's happening in the US to another country, and to kind of but to still have that core, like we want to build health, not just treat disease. And we want to work at the level of root causes. And all of us can't do everything. So we need collaboration and support and the skills. It's like all hands on deck kind of situation. And it's a beautiful, I think, moment in history, moment in medicine. We don't know which way lifestyle medicine will go, but it's the beginning of something truly amazing.
Thank you. Very well said. And Simon?
Josie, there's two kind of ways that come to mind that I think this can be really, really powerful. The first is that when a mentoring relationship is working really well, I think one of the things that it can do is support the mentee to become progressively more focused on what could be, what's possible. And that, of course, doesn't mean that there's not some issues and challenges and difficulties in the present moment that have to be worked through and addressed and moved beyond. Nevertheless, the focus, I think, can support someone to continue kind of growing their perspective of what's possible. So that of course supports the growth and the advancement of lifestyle medicine. The other way that I think is very important is to recognise that all lifestyle medicine practitioners, whether you're a physician or a specialist or a medical specialist or a psychologist, dietitian, exercise physiologist, medical rehab specialist, whatever it might be, we all still work within structures and systems that place demands upon us. And I don't think we're yet at a place where structurally lifestyle medicine is kind of sits neatly in those structures and systems. Certainly, in the time that I've been involved with lifestyle medicine, tremendous advances have been made, and I'm going to give a shout out here to Susan Benicus, under whose leadership in ACLM, I think a lot of that significant work has happened over the last dozen or so years. So I think that lifestyle medicine, as it matures, will exert an influence over time on those structures and systems. Nevertheless, those structures and systems also exert an influence back on practitioners, and that can lead to stresses and strains and disillusionment and frustration and disappointment and, occasionally burnout as well. And Rasarie has shared already that at the time she came to mentoring, she was in a place herself where she was experiencing a certain amount of, frustration and perhaps disappointment is too strong a word, but just a sense of not being at the place she wanted to be. And I think that, again, a warm and connected mentoring relationship can support someone to thrive even within a system that can be quite challenging at times. And I think over time that contributes significantly to the growth and the impact of lifestyle medicine as well.
Thank you. And what a great reminder for those listening that we all know that lifestyle medicine transcends continents, but so do the challenge that come with trying to make change in a system. And so mentorship can transcend continents as well, clearly. Absolutely. Based on this pair. Thank you so much. I just want to give you the platform. If there's anything that either of you wanted to share that you feel like we didn't touch on yet, that you think is important for the audience, please feel free to do so. And if not, we'll wrap up the conversation, but I just wanted to open the floor.
Well, I would say for anybody who might be in a place where they do need support, but they're not sure which way to go. So this is a wonderful platform where mentorship is available to you, and you don't have to you don't have to go through it alone. Like, when help is available, you can always take it. And for me, I'm so glad that I did, because it opened up a lot of possibilities. It took a lot of almost imagined kind of hurdles away from me. And it's been a really wonderful situation. So for anybody who is, wherever you are in your career, if you think you need a little bit of help, so help is available. So I would say, this is a wonderful platform for you to be mentored. If you don't have to go through it alone. I think it's the beauty of lifestyle medicine and the people who go into lifestyle medicine. It's like a common theme that tends to surface, that it's a holistic system that we are building, various pillars. And so if you are looking for help, it's available. And I'm very thankful for the ACLM for this platform, for the ability to have a mentor. I mean, I would not have thought that a mentor from Spain. It was wonderful, and thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. And Josie, I would add to that, I might even offer a challenge to my fellow ACLM members and fellows to really ask yourself, is this something that could be you? And if the answer is even possibly, then I would encourage you to look further. And one of the great things about the program is that simply signing up to it doesn't commit you to anything. Agreeing to join the mentorship program as either a mentor or a mentee doesn't immediately commit you to anything, but it does open the possibility of connecting with others and engaging in conversations to see what might be possible from there. So even if you're even if you're in the early stages of wondering, is this something that might be of interest to me, my encouragement would be sign up and see what emerges from there. You're in control the whole way. You can say yes, no, or maybe every step of the way. So deal with those as they come, but respond to that inner urge right now if you have it.
Yes, thank you both immensely for sharing your inspirational story and for likely motivating others to join the mentorship program through ACLM. Thank you also for making time out of your busy schedules and across time zones.